Imagine standing in the dark 50,000 years ago, holding your breath while listening to the crunch of dry leaves, knowing that the real threat to your life isn't the big cat hunting in the brush. It's the member of your own group creeping toward the winter food cache. Long before we built brick courtrooms, drafted constitution documents, or carved statutes into stone, human survival hung by a single fragile thread: shared trust. Inside our ancestral hearth circles, life was an invisible contract where everyone hunted, everyone gathered, and everyone shared the rewards equally. So what happened when someone broken that unspoken promise? What was the very first crime ever committed by a human being against their own kind? And how did our ancestors punish it before laws even existed? You might imagine that the first crime was violence, theft of a weapon, or a fight over shelter. But evolutionary anthropology reveals a far more quiet, insidious transgression that nearly wiped our early species off the map. It was the crime of free human ancestors for millions of years. In early primate bands, physical strength was the only law that mattered. The alpha male took the richest fruits, claimed the safest sleeping quarters, and enforced his authority through raw, unrestrained intimidation. If a weaker individual took food without permission, the alpha simply beat them into submission. There was no concept of a crime because there were no collective rules to break. There was only power and obedience. About 2 million years ago, our hominin ancestors stepped out of the rainforests and onto the open, dangerous grasslands of East Africa. On these wide plains, a solitary human was nothing more than an easy midnight meal for giant hyenas and saber cooperative social team. We began hunting animals many times our size, carrying heavy water bladders across scorching deserts and taking turns watching for predators while others slept. This radical shift required an absolute overthrow of the old alpha rider. The entire cooperative others would see the free-tired system of justice that was surprisingly sophisticated, precise, and lethal. Long before humans invented formal court trials, we invented something far more pervasive: relentless social surveillance. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar demonstrated that human language did not evolve simply to convey factual news about food locations or weather. Language evolved primarily as social gossip, an automated radar system designed to monitor who was being generous and who was quietly cheating. If you stole food in the middle of the night, you might not be confronted immediately with spears or stones. Instead, whisper networks spread the information across the band long before the sun reached its peak. By nightfall, every family in the camp knew your balance in the social ledger had dropped to zero. In modern behavioral economics, experiments like the public goods game reveal just how deeply this anti-riding immediately emerges. At the moment researchers add a mechanism allowing players to spend their own money to punish the cheater, subjects do so enthusiastically. Brain imaging shows that when people punish a free motion execution, no one spoke to you, no one shared fire with you, and no one stood beside you when predators approached the perimeter. You were effectively erased from the superorganism while still walking among them. If a free domestication, we quite literally bred the extreme bullies and chronic thieves out of our own species, selecting for brains that default to cooperation, empathy, and fairness. This deep evolutionary history explains why the mechanics of early justice are still playing out inside your daily life right now. You do not live in a Pleistocene hunter-rider. Your brain registers their laziness as an existential threat to your clan's winter food supply, triggering an internal alarm system forged millions of years ago. Consider how you feel when you discover people are gossiping about you behind your back. It feels like a sharp physical punch in the gut because, in our deep past, losing your reputation meant physical starvation and abandonment. Gossip is not just petty modern entertainment. It is our ancestral smoke alarm warning us that our position in the tribe is under attack. Even our most complex moral emotions exist because of this ancient anti-lock braking system, forcing you to shrink your physical posture, avoid eye contact, and demonstrate submission to placate angry peers. These painful feelings are social survival gear developed to protect you from committing the world's oldest crime and facing its ultimate evolutionary penalty. Every time you wait your turn in line, feel a sting of conscience, or return a dropped wallet to a stranger, you are carrying forward the software written around ancient campfires, the discovery of how early humans solved the problem of free-term strategy for survival. The world's first crime, betraying the trust of the tribe, forced us to invent the tools that built human civilization itself. Without the free rider threatening our collective survival, we never would have developed complex language, moral systems, legal frameworks, or deep empathy. We did not survive the dangers of the ancient world because we were the strongest beasts on the savannah. We survived because we realized that the strength of the hunter meant nothing if the tribe lost its soul to betrayal. The next time you choose to help a friend without expecting anything in return, remember that you are honoring an ancient evolutionary pact, a contract born in the dark under a canopy of prehistoric stars, signed in shared food, and protected by the long memory of the hearth. Justice was not handed down to us from the sky. It was hammered out stone by stone in the slow, difficult birth of human community. And that fragile, beautiful trust remains the greatest invention our species will ever produce.